So I watched that show you were wanting me to watch.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. Yeah, I watched 2 episodes of it.
You're supposed to watch all episodes of it.
Well, we can't talk about the whole show because that's spoilers. I was only going to watch the first episode because I thought then I could talk without spoiling stuff, but I got wrapped up and watched 2.
It's so good.
It is pretty good. It's a bummer it's only 8 episodes.
They're really well done, though. I'm looking forward to the next season of it. You know they're going to do a second season. Like, it's been like the little critical darling show of the summer.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely do a second season. I also saw today where they're going to be doing like prequels to Game of Thrones.
I'd heard they were talking about it. I hadn't heard
That it might just be talk.
It seems like every year though, like every year they get closer to the end of Game of Thrones, HBO gets a little more like they don't quite commit, but they're a little more like, yeah, we'll probably do it.
Well, they've announced there's only like 14 or 13 episodes left or something like that. So they got to get the revenue somehow.
They got Westworld starting this fall. It's supposed to be a big deal.
Is it? Haven't even heard.
It looks
of
really cool. It's kind of like a sci-fi western mix. It's based off of an old Michael Crichton book.
Yeah.
We'll put a link in the show notes to there's a trailer for it that's really cool.
It looks like Westworld is already a movie.
It's like a 70s movie, yeah.
1973.
I got a gut feeling the HBO show is going to be a little more hip. You know, it's the people that brought you Game of Thrones. They like to cuss and they like to have the women take their shirts off.
Yep.
So that's like every show on HBO now. Nudity and adult content.
That's what brings the viewers in.
There you go.
I'll definitely be checking it out. We'll see how it is.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy a good western, so I hope it's good.
Well, it's like if I understand it correctly, it's like a very futuristic, like almost like Matrix style. It's like they built the Matrix as a theme park, and instead of the theme park being like 1999 like it was for Keanu Reeves, it's like the Wild West. I think they're robots though. Maybe it's not like VR like the Matrix or whatever. They're like robots, I guess. And they start kind of, doing things robots shouldn't do, like questioning their morality or some weird stuff, and everybody flips out, and they become self-aware and they start hitting the Terminator button.
It looks interesting.
Yeah, the trailer is going to explain it much better than I ever will.
I'll have to check that out.
It'll be something else to watch besides Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of the new Vice Principals show on HBO?
Mm-mm.
It's got I can't remember his name, the guy from Eastbound and Down in it. It's not bad.
What is that, Danny McBride?
Danny McBride, that's it, yep.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't think it'll survive to a season 2, but it's okay.
What's it missing that's not going to take it onto the second season?
A cohesive story or anything besides, like, it's like there's one funny gag per episode, and they try to put like 25 minutes of padding around that to flesh out an episode. Like, I think if you took like the entire season and cut out 75% of it, it'd make a really funny Danny McBride stand-up hour or something. But for a season of a TV show, there's not enough substance there.
No, I mean, I haven't even heard of it. So.
Yeah. That's like, after Game of Thrones is over. Now they've got that show with The Rock, Ballers, and I haven't watched any of season 2 of it. And Vice Principals is all new this year.
I haven't watched any of this stuff.
I watched season 1 of Ballers, and it was okay.
I've been watching the Olympics and playing No Man's Sky, and that's about it.
I'm jealous of you with No Man's Sky, not so much the Olympics. Could care less about that.
Well, I've got the dual TVs, so yeah, you rock them both at the same time. It's enjoyable. I like it. It's a shame you can't play it.
It'll come out eventually for Xbox.
Maybe.
Yeah, it will.
Is it an exclusive, or they said they're coming out?
I haven't heard, but if they've already taken the time to make it for PC...
That's true.
Like, an Xbox essentially is a PC with a controller. Plus, there's a lot of people that own Xboxes that don't own PS4s, and at some point they're going to be like, okay, we want more money. That's what every company does. It may be a year or two, but it'll come out.
It's a lot of fun.
So what's your favorite part of it
it's
so far?
definitely different. I don't know. I think I like the exploration part. If I play a Fallout game, I tend to explore the map and just look through a bunch of boxes, which is probably pretty boring for most people, but I enjoy it quite a bit.
Did you finish Fallout 4?
Yeah, I platinumed it.
Wow. I'm impressed.
I've platinumed every Fallout game.
I've got I'm not sure I'm even 20% of the way through it. I just discovered Boston, so that tells you. Or Diamond City, is it?
Yeah, that's pretty early.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I had a very young baby when the game came out, so it was a lot of holding the baby and playing Fallout.
It's even more impressive.
Well, I mean, he was early on. All he did was ever sleep. So I got a lot of gaming done early on.
A lot of father-son bonding time.
It's pretty good. But No Man's Sky for me, is a must-have. I've been trying to talk Steven into it because he likes the kind of games I like, so I'm sure he'll love it.
So, are you glad you weren't the guy that paid $1,300 to get it a week early, and then they wiped the servers?
I definitely wouldn't have done that. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have done that.
I saw that.
Well, they even added a day one patch that pretty much changed the game. So he really didn't even get to enjoy it for what it was.
That's crazy.
If you got the money to burn, though, I guess go for it.
That is the new thing now, though. Every game you get, there's a huge day one patch.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to, anymore, I just buy games digitally.
Do ya?
Yeah, I just go in the Xbox store, and I'm like, okay, I want this, download it. And I just store them all on the hard. I got an external hard drive hooked up to my Xbox, and it's so nice. You don't have to get up and change the discs and stuff out. And
yeah, I mean, I've got probably 5 or 6 digital, but the only ones I have are digital are the PlayStation Store sales. They always have fire sales where stuff's 75% off.
Yeah,
and I get it through that, but I enjoy the hard copy of a game. Same with movies and everything. I enjoy the physical copy, taking it out of the box.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
I switched movies and music and all that stuff. I switched digital years ago.
Music, I definitely go digitally, but I say that, but I guess I have a ton of vinyl. I'm actually going backwards in the music.
You're going the wrong way. You're swimming upstream.
It's nice. I like the sound.
Games, though, I don't see the point. Because really, all that disc is an installer. Because you have to run it off the hard drive anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And we got another friend of the show, Tyler, who does not have such good internet. And it's actually faster for me to download a game from the Xbox store than it is for him to install it off of a disc.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, a Blu-ray drive is not fast. So literally, if he goes to GameStop and buys a physical copy, he has to come home and install it to where we're essentially going to the same point. And I'm assuming the PS4 is the same way. It can't play it from a disc. It has to just install it when you put the disc in. Mm-hmm. And the disc is essentially just a piracy check to make sure that you bought the game.
I enjoy seeing the box on the shelf. I like that. I mean, I bought a bookshelf just to put Blu-rays and games on, so it'd be pretty silly if I got rid of everything.
There you go.
What would I put on it then? Books? I guess more board games since the other one's full.
To be fair, I haven't even buy my books digitally, so
Oh my god.
My bookshelf right now, really needs to be cleaned out because it's just old stuff, like DVDs and 360 games. It's got a thick layer of dust on it.
It's like a time capsule.
They're going to come want to dig it up in 10 years.
You need to just have every 10 years or so, get a bookshelf, fill it up, and then go on to a next one and don't touch the old one.
Donate it to the Historical Society.
I just want you to seal wrap the whole thing and then open it in 30 years.
Put it in bubble wrap and store it in the basement.
Yep.
Okay. Well, are you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Welcome to episode 4 of Tabletop Life. My name is Matt, joined as always by my wonderful co-host who's out exploring space, Michael.
Hello.
Today, we have a very special episode because we didn't play a game. But we saw hundreds of different ones at Gencon this past weekend. And we're going to discuss Gencon. However, before we get into that, let's do some follow-up from the last episode. So, Michael, how's the Pokemon business going?
It's not great. They've updated myself out of the game. I don't care for it anymore. And they've ruined it for me. But it's alright. I wouldn't have time. With all the No Man's Sky of an evening, I wouldn't have time to go chase Pokemon.
So, what specifically have they done that has updated you out of the game? What have they changed?
They took out the third-party trackers, which I understand probably ruined it for some people, but for someone like myself who has a kid, I can't just go wandering around at night. With the third-party tracker, I could see where it was in town, drive to it, attempt to catch it, and then come back home. But they've even made it hard to catch him anymore.
Yeah, doesn't sound like a good time.
It's not. I'm very upset about it.
But
like I said,
yeah,
I gotta play No Man's Sky, so I don't have time to be catching Pokemon.
No Man's Sky was gonna get him anyway. I still haven't downloaded
You know
it, so
how long it's gonna take to find 18 quadrillion planets? A lot.
Isn't the thing I think I'd read I don't know if it was a review of No Man's Sky or a preview or something, but they'd said that it would take like 200 or 300 human years to find every planet in the game or something.
Yeah.
Maybe no, that doesn't seem right. Maybe it was longer than that. 18 quintillion seems pretty big.
I really go through each planet and see what it has to offer, so there's no way I would ever finish it.
You're not gonna platinum that one, huh?
I don't know. I haven't even looked at trophies. I would hope that that's not one of the achievements.
Explore every planet. There you go. Now, No Man's Sky is, I know we're kind of getting off the Pokemon thing here, but it is kind of like an MMO almost, isn't it? It's live. You're playing online with other people. There's just 18 quintillion planets, so that it's like very unlikely you'll meet another player.
Well, I've seen where people have actually met up in the same place, and they're still not there. So I don't really think... I mean, we're all on the same server, finding the same stuff, but we're not really playing together. If you find something and name it, then other people will see that you found it and named it, but you're not going to see the people.
Interesting. Well, again, I haven't got a chance to play it, so...
Come on over and check it out.
I will have to. Well, I'm waiting on Microsoft to get that Xbox version out.
You might be waiting a while.
Yeah, I figure I probably will be. Hey,
I'll be on I
can always play Pokemon in the meantime because no one else is, so the server is mine now.
I wish you would have just started playing Pokemon when I was getting out of it.
I'm always late to the show, so...
You'd be like Kyle in that episode of South Park, the Chimpokemon one where he keeps getting the hot new toy and they've moved on to something else. That would be you.
Oh.
They have brought all the old Pokemon cartoons back to Netflix.
Have they?
Yeah, they knew they had a money market there.
That's what I've been waiting for.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't think I watched them the first time, so definitely not going to watch them now. All right.
I watched them when I was a little kid, but
yeah,
I hadn't seen them in 20 years.
I don't know what I was watching while you were watching that. I was probably programming or something.
No, I'm sure you were.
I was building websites. What are you talking about? I was learning code. Ain't no time to watch damn cartoons.
All right, well, let's talk about Gencon.
Oh, before we do, I've got one more item of follow-up. We've made some updates to the website. For anyone who would have visited TabletopLifePodcast.com, you've probably been very saddened up until recently because yours truly failed to upload episodes 2 and 3 to YouTube or post that they were available on there or do anything else. So I remedied this situation a week and a half. All the episodes have now been caught up on YouTube. Done some fancy little new intro cards for them. And we've also made the videos on YouTube. They're like slideshows now. They'll have some photos we've taken of the games that we were playing. And most importantly, they're up to date. We're also going to try to post some other things randomly on there. Just kind of, important announcements. This past week, we added a photos section to the website. So we'll try to keep that updated for those who don't watch the YouTube version of the podcast, who listen to it on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play. we'll post those photos on there and have a gallery of each game we play. And we've already thrown up some photos from Gencon up there. Maybe familiar to if you follow us on Twitter. But okay, so that's all I've got website-wise. Take it away, Michael. Tell us about Gencon.
Well, I guess we'll start from the very beginning. Parking for us, it didn't seem to be too bad. We parked about a mile away. It was a nice walk in. Took advantage of the skywalks. It was pretty warm that day.
Yeah.
So it's nice getting out of the elements. Even though the skywalks might have been a little bit hotter than outside, at least you're out of the sun.
And they're just really cool.
They are.
Yeah. Let's be honest.
So we got there not knowing what to expect. We went will call on the tickets. That didn't seem to be too bad. It was like probably a 15, 20-minute wait.
Yeah, it's much faster than I anticipated. The line moved very quickly.
Talked about what we were going to do, what to expect with the day. We had somebody talking to us in line that really helped us and ended up walking around with us all day and showing us what we need to do because we really had no idea.
Yes. Shout out to new friend of the show, Stuart, if you're out there. It's very nice. Very nice to meet you, sir.
It's very nice. I think that probably saved us some time because we probably wouldn't have went straight into it like we did. We would have been wandering around for at least an hour trying to figure out what to do.
Definitely, yeah. It was nice. I think Stuart said he'd been there 4 or 5 years in a row. I mean, he definitely, got us off going in the right path. So it's very much appreciated.
It was very cool seeing all the vendors. Seeing a lot of new games, a lot of stuff that hasn't come out yet. It was nice getting a sneak peek at it.
The expo floor was just the size was amazing. It was even bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was huge. We didn't buy any tickets to play any games. I think you'd probably get more of your money's worth had you played more games. Especially some of the demos. If you'd sat down and demoed some of the games, there's usually only 1 or 2 chairs available for a demo. So it might even be easier if you just went as a group, checked everything out, and then split off and maybe demoed some stuff for a couple hours, then met back up.
I think
because as a group, I think it'd be tough to demo stuff unless 1 or 2 people wanted to sit down and then everybody else just watched. That could work.
I think our shortcoming was that we were only there one day. I think you have to be there. The 4-day pass would be ideal, but at least Saturday and I think Friday they said was a really good day to be there. If you were there Friday and Saturday, you'd have time to schedule your games out, sit down, play a few. Trying to take in the show floor and play games in one day there's just not enough time.
There's really not.
And if you scheduled stuff ahead of time to where you can sign up for the games and be eligible, have a reserved spot, I shouldn't say. If you went through and plotted that out to where you knew at 2 p.m. to be here to play this game and 4 p.m. to be here to play this game, then had time in the middle to go explore, I think that would be the perfect setup. But you just...
Yeah, I'd almost want to do like a morning, noon, and night session and then walk around in between. I wouldn't want to pack it too much because I wouldn't want to be rushing around.
I think that goes back into why you need more than one day to do it.
Yeah.
Just like, for example, there was a really cool promo. We were talking to the Catan...
It was Mayfair Games.
Yeah, Mayfair Games, the Catan guys. And you could play games they had set up, and each game was on a colored table that gave you one of the items from Catan. It's like if you played on I think it was a gray table, you got cheap. And these were like little ribbons you could put on your expo badge, and when you collected them all, you got 50% off of your choice of a Mayfair game. And we were like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. We'll play some games. It's great. But this was going to take like 5 hours to do. And
5 games, it probably would take an hour apiece.
Yeah. And we had like...
Of an 8-hour day, that's not much.
It left us 3 hours to go over the whole hall.
Not much time.
So that's where definitely, if you had 4 days, you could space that out a little bit better, and that was our failing. There's never enough time, though. You could.
I did enjoy the massive Catan maps.
Yeah.
The giant games, and then the really detailed maps. Those were pretty neat.
I posted a photo of the giant Catan on Twitter. That was by far the most liked and retweeted picture of Gencon. So you're not the only one. Everybody loves giant Catan.
And I posted it on Instagram, and it got quite a few likes on it. That and Doom, the board game.
Yeah. Which I was really excited about Doom, the board game, going into Gen Con. And I watched like a demo of it. It seems really complex. Like I definitely need more time to kind of wrap my head around it. You're familiar with the game it's based off of. It's a Star Wars game, correct?
Yeah, I think it was Imperial Assault. I'm pretty sure.
I've never played Imperial Assault, so. But I mean,
I haven't either. But
it looked cool. Doom looks really cool. The art was awesome, but I mean, it's certainly in depth. Maybe I might pick it up.
It might not be too bad. You never know until you get playing them.
Just I know I'm gonna be forever known as a guy who didn't like Takenoko, but Dead of Winter, I really like Dead of Winter, and to me, it's got far more complexity than Takenoko. So I can like deep games.
Yeah, I'm not seeing what that was based off of, but I'm pretty sure it was Imperial Assault. I haven't played Imperial Assault, so I can't really tell off the top of my head.
I'm not sure when Doom's coming out either. The version they had was a early prototype, so the guy had mentioned that was running the demo that it wasn't finalized.
Well, didn't you say they were waiting on licensing and stuff like that?
Yeah,
but it did look neat.
It did. And they had a Game of Thrones version of game as well, and I didn't see it.
It was a card game, I believe.
Was okay. So I didn't see it demo, so I didn't know what it was either.
Yeah, I think they were out when we went around that area because I don't think any of the tables had anybody at them.
Okay.
But it was neat. I enjoyed it. I'll definitely be going back next year.
Oh yeah, yeah. I want to go more next year. I said at least 2 days.
Yeah, we should. I mean, if you're going, you might as well just get the 4-day pass. I think it's cheaper to buy a 4-day pass than it is 2 separate days.
Well, there you go.
Because I think we paid $55 for 1 day, and I think it's $95 for a 4-day pass.
Totally worth $100 of entertainment.
And then I didn't realize that on Family Day on Sunday it was $40 for a family of 4. So that's pretty neat. I would have taken Trey and Oliver on that day and at least walked around. I mean, for $40 for all 3 of us.
Oh, that's a steal.
Yeah. And then that way, if Oliver would have started turning on us, we could have headed out and it would have been a big deal. If you're paying over $100 for 2 people, you probably want to stick it out.
Yeah. And that would have given you a chance to show off his amazing X-Wing cosplay.
Yeah, I probably should start working on that.
I think so.
It'd definitely be a good Halloween costume. We'll see. We'll draw up some plans and see if I can get it going.
Speaking of, the cosplay at Gen Con was amazing.
Yeah.
Some of the costumes we've seen were phenomenal.
There's a lot of good stuff.
I give my props to the cosplayers because some of them were, I mean, it was a hot day, and some of them were covered in multiple layers of leather and things that I know were not cool, definitely.
Yeah, the walk over there had to have been very miserable.
Yeah. So the extent that some of the cosplayers went to get the costume down was, the dedication is definitely very strong. So tip of the hat to all of you cosplayers.
I was a little concerned about the crowd looking at pictures on their Facebook, but it didn't really seem to bother me. I think we were on the busiest day of all of it, and if that's as busy as it gets, I mean, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it never felt overwhelming.
No.
I wasn't sure because, you heard, there's 70,000 people going to be there. No, you never, I mean, walking through the expo floor, sometimes you'd have people, kind of brush up against you, but it was never like, you're never packed like sardines or anything. There was always room to walk, and everything kind of moved at a good clip. Everybody was super nice. I mean, the community's fantastic. You didn't see anybody, acting out or anything.
No. And we were even talking about how they have these games stacked up and how easy it'd be for someone to swipe one and put it in their bag. And I guess it's the honor system among the gamers that no one's gonna take anything. But it didn't seem like I didn't see anybody doing anything.
Yeah, and just like with with bringing your bags and stuff in, like the only people at Gen Con who weren't wearing a backpack were cosplayers.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I mean,
and I never really was concerned about getting stuff pickpocketed out of the bag either. Sometimes I go to events and it's crowded like that, and I sometimes like want to one shoulder strap it so I can keep a hold of the bag and make sure people aren't unzipping it when it's on my back. But in that crowd, I was never concerned at all. It was nice. It was a lot of fun.
Very much so.
I would suggest anybody that hasn't been to go. And I heard people concerned about shuttles from faraway hotels and things like that. But I think if you got a taxi or Uber, it wouldn't be too bad. It's not like you're going to be going back and forth all day. You're getting one trip there and one trip back at the end of the day, probably. And there's many hotels in the 465 loop that they're out of walking distance, but you can definitely get a ride to the convention center.
Just got to pace how many board games you buy a day.
That is true. I definitely overpacked my backpack. And had you not had one, we wouldn't have been able to store any of the games we bought.
Well, I classically underpacked, so it balanced out well.
Well, I don't think I used anything out of my backpack all day. So, probably won't take the 40-pound backpack next time.
Well, luckily the apocalypse did not hit, so we didn't need any of your survival gear.
Well, I don't know how long we would have been surviving on Yoo-hoo and Pretzels, but
Those are the essentials.
those seem like the necessities going into it. I guess it was nice for the trip home.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with the Yoo-hoo.
No.
And if Yoo-hoo would like to sponsor the podcast, and they can just send me a pallet of Yoo-hoo to the house, or they can send it to my work. We have a loading dock. You could just drop it off at the door, and we'd be set. Yoo-hoo presents Tabletop Life Podcast.
No monetary compensation required.
None at all.
And no, it's not Yoo-hoo, but I was very impressed with the Sun King beer they had up there. It was
very good.
Special brew just for Gen Con. It's called 20-Sided Rye. It was very nice.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, Sun King booth out in the middle of all the food trucks.
Yeah, they had many. Georgia Street was full of food trucks, which was really nice. It had the Sun King Beer Garden, which was nice. That was just right outside of the convention center, and it was really good. Kind of a long wait for our food, but that might have been the truck we picked. I think they were more worried about taking orders than fulfilling orders.
If you're not familiar with the Indianapolis area, Sun King is just a giant local brewery. And so it was just a kind of a cool thing they did.
Yeah.
And really the whole Indianapolis community was very, they've really taken to Gen Con. I heard Scotty's Brewhouse is a very nice local restaurant. They had a special menu for Gen Con. Some funny named items, and I didn't see
Well, I'd heard that some of the restaurants were hosting games.
Yeah. Some of the surrounding hotels have really they've went all in. When we first got there, before we'd even hit the expo center, there was games being ran before you walked across the sky bridges in the hotels.
Yeah, they were even demoing, what was that, like that digital tabletop?
That's true, yeah. We did see that. It was really cool. It's like a giant iPad that you can load your games onto. And it interacted with the pieces.
And it was a little pricey, but when you're talking $40 or $50 a game anyway, it doesn't take many to equal out the price.
I think it's still a little early. I mean, the tech they had... I mean, he was having some issues when they were demoing it to us. It's probably one of those things where, 2 or 3 years, it'll be a lot more solid, and you'll start to see it take over more. We talked about how I'm all in on digital. Like, I was
getting ready to say.
I don't buy vinyl or anything, but and I've retired my VHS collection, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know.
I thought you might have that in one of your bookshelf time capsules.
Right next to my it's in the basement with the vinyl and Vinyl and VHS. I got a few cassettes in there. For some reason, with the board games, I do like the physical pieces. So, I don't know how that's all going to shake out.
Yeah, I enjoy the box and the artwork and taking everything out. I mean, that's one of my favorite parts.
And I know
so I would probably never move on. But like I said, I like a physical copy of stuff.
The
I don't like
the other
the
thing
digital.
that I don't get is, like, they showed off, and one of the questions I had asked him, I said, okay, so is there like an app store on this thing that you would download games from? He said, oh yeah, of course. But then they also had physical pieces they were interacting with that I'm guessing use like an RFID or something, or NFC, to connect to the actual board and communicate with the game. So where do you get the pieces from if you buy the games digitally?
I was wondering that as well.
There's definitely some kinks to work out. So I don't know if you would like buy it and they would ship things to you, and then you get some stuff delivered digitally, and then if you're storing your boards digitally, but you're still got to store all the cards and pieces separately, or are the cards digitally? It's just gonna make my head hurt trying to figure it all out right now. And I think there's a lot of other people who probably are trying to sell these digital boards are having that same problem.
Probably.
So, again, I think in a couple of years it might shake itself out and be a lot more compelling product, though. The spark of the idea is there, though. Like, it was really cool.
Yeah, it was neat. That was, we watched that for probably 15 or 20 minutes. They definitely did have some issues with it, but like you said, it is early. I mean, I think that's only in Kickstarter, the one we saw.
I think they were doing a Kickstarter on it.
Because they were talking about having like 24 and 32 and even like a 54-inch tablet, which that would be way too much.
That'd be a table.
It would be. Which, I mean, I don't know. Maybe down the line that would be the future where you could have your entire table was the game.
I think, if you want to think long term, I think that makes sense at a certain point just for general computing. Like, it makes sense that your table is a giant screen that you could do other things with. But by that point, games would just be another app. They wouldn't be a table that you wouldn't have a table that just played games. You'd have a table that could do it could run any kind of app, and games would just be a subset of that. So I'm not sure, not sure someone's not going to come along and eat their lunch. But we'll see. Microsoft built I know they've got the Surface tablets, but for any older geeks out there who remember, the first Microsoft Surface was that. It was a table, like a boardroom table for big companies to buy that was multi-touch. That was, 10 years ago.
Then we also sat down and played the new Sushi to Go Party.
Oh, that was my favorite part of Gencon. Sushi Go Party.
I believe our guide for the day, Stuart, knew more about the game than the guy that was actually demoing it.
Well, now Sushi Go Party is a newer version of...
The Sushi to Go is the first one.
Yeah.
I think. Or was it Sushi Go? I don't remember.
Yeah. But anyway, Sushi Go Party is the newer version, and it is fantastic. And very inexpensive. It's definitely a game you should pick up and have in your collection.
Yeah. I've never played the first one, but after we ended up buying a copy of it. But we enjoyed it. You could... It seemed like it let you change up the game more than the original did. So it was always something new.
And it was one of the few games that... we had literally never heard of the game. And granted, we were playing it with someone who played the older version and a representative from the company that makes the game. But within one round, we were all playing like we, had played it for years.
It was a very fast pick.
And very fun.
It was a lot of fun, which is why we got a copy of it. And thankfully, you had the open backpack.
I know. It's storage space to bring it home.
I was hoping to buy more games that day, but the prices, they really didn't. I was hoping they'd be more of a sale than they were. They really didn't compete much with the online prices, maybe $2 or $3 cheaper.
Some of them. There was a couple games I thought I should go pick this game up, and earlier in the day I saw it at like noon or something, and I'd be like, oh, I want to get a copy of that, but I don't want to carry it around all day. I'll come back. And then like as I'm halfway home, I'm like, I should have picked that game up. I forgot all about it.
Yeah, And there were a lot of sales too that were like 80% off and stuff too.
And again, like the Mayfair deal, like if you were there for a couple days, you could have got 50% off of a Mayfair game. So,
and I'm sure other booths had similar deals. We just didn't hear about them.
Yeah.
There's probably a ton of stuff we didn't see. But it's just too much. You can't do it in one day.
Yeah.
There's stuff I've seen that Gencon shared on social media that I didn't even know was there.
We didn't make it upstairs at all. We only saw the first floor, and we were there for an entire day. We got there maybe 45 minutes after the doors opened, and we're there until they closed, and it's just massive.
And we were pretty wore out, too.
Yeah. I slept really good Saturday night.
Very good. My feet were definitely on fire. But that might have also included our 2-mile walk to and from the car as well.
Yeah. Gotta close those rings, Michael. Close those rings.
I've definitely talked to a few people that'll probably gonna go with us next year.
I think it would be really fun just to get a group and go up there and take a couple days and play some games.
It'd almost be worthwhile getting a hotel room, really.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I hate to take one from people that are wanting to come from out of town and enjoy it, but it would be a lot easier if we didn't have to drive an hour, 20 minutes up there and back every day.
You could always get one a little farther out of town. And
yeah, like I said, we could get one close to the 465 loop. And
yeah, I mean, and Uber's, you'd be within the $15 or 15 mile, whatever it is, Uber price range.
And there's quite a bit of free parking, too, so you could always drive from the hotel and park for free and walk over.
Yeah.
There's also pay parking that's a heck of a lot closer, but it's nice that there's free parking in Indy.
They did a great job with that.
There's definitely a lot of people directing traffic and parking lots open. We did find that one cheap one across from Lucas Oil Stadium, and that would have been a very close walk. And I think it was only $10 to park.
Yeah, which, in hindsight, that's probably what we should have done, but that would not have been nearly as much of an adventure.
No, I did get to catch the 2 Pokemon I saw in our walk.
I know you caught more than 2 Pokemon.
I did not. I caught 2. Now, had that been before the update, I probably would have caught like 20. But you just don't see nearly as much anymore.
It seems like we stopped more than twice, but
it might have been 3 or 4 times. But that's really the last time I've played it. I haven't played it all week. I don't know. They've just turned me off on it.
They'll win you back with Pokemon Go, the board game, coming next year.
Well, I mean, they have the card game, but I don't know any of the new stuff. I only know the original ones when I was a kid. I don't know any of the newer stuff, and they don't sell the old cards anymore. I can buy them on eBay, but I mean, there was even vendors selling the old cards at Gencon. Yeah,
there was a healthy section of Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards, and so if you're into
everything.
Yeah. And one thing about Gen Con that there's a very healthy mix of the tabletop games like we normally play that, have like a board and pieces and dice and cards and all that fun stuff. And also more like the D&D RPGs where you have like the books and kind of, craft your own adventures. There was far more of those than I anticipated.
Yeah, and there's a lot of game like illustrators and authors and all that stuff that you can meet them. I didn't know any of them, but I saw some people sitting at tables that were signing some stuff.
It was definitely cool to see. I mean, and this was after the fact, but to see like people who we walked past the booth and saw them, and then it's like, oh, I got my copy of the game signed by this is the guy who designed it. And I was like, oh yeah, we saw that guy. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, I never really went through the guide. We probably should have to seen what was going on, but it was very thick. Because we didn't see the cosplay parade or anything. I saw the pictures.
I think we were out. We were taken in the beer garden at that point.
We might have been. The beer garden was pretty nice.
That was lunch. We got to a very late lunch.
Liquid lunch. You can't go wrong.
So, what was your favorite part of Gen Con, Michael? If you had to distill it down to one thing, or can you?
I don't know if I can. Probably one of my favorite things. I like that it's everybody together that's doing what we enjoy to do. We're kind of from a small town. We're in the minority of people that enjoy the board games, and it's nice to go somewhere where everybody's got the same interests. Everybody's there for the same thing. Everybody's really nice to each other. That's probably my favorite part. What do you think your favorite part was?
I'm not sure I want to try to compete with that. That was pretty poetic. I mean, I was going to say, like, sandwich, but no. Lunch was fantastic. No.
Well, it might have been for you, but I got some sort of food allergy, and I've been breaking out in hives all week. So
yeah, I didn't have that problem. I got bit by something, like, behind my ear, but I think, God, we live in Indiana, so that could be that could be any time of the day. The community was very impressive. I was just impressed with how accessible everything was, and how you've got the awesomeness. So you got the guy who designed a game standing there talking to somebody who just loves this game, and they're talking like they're best friends. That community, is just amazing.
yeah,
And again, props to Indy for just making it so being such a good host city.
it's just everything's so accessible in Indy. I like it. Everything's very tight downtown. You can get it everywhere by foot. It's very enjoyable.
There you go. So this is the part of the show where we normally recommend whether you buy a game or not. And we saw a lot of games. I was going to go ahead and recommend that you definitely go to Gencon next year if you can, because it's a ton of fun.
Yeah. And if you're worried about the price, go on Family Day.
Yeah.
$40 for a family of four is a heck of a deal. I don't know what the difference between Saturday and Sunday is. I know they were selling a lot of stuff on Saturday, and they said that as the night went on, everything would get cheaper and cheaper. So I don't know if they were trying to sell out before Sunday. So, I mean, I'm a little concerned of what is not there on Sunday and what's there on Saturday.
I would think on a Sunday, you're going to have some vendors who are going to leave early. You're going to have people who are kind of packing up because Sunday's the last day. So, there is that to consider.
But for the price discount, and if you're like we were this year and didn't know what you were getting into, it wouldn't have been too bad.
No. Saturday, they said Saturday is the busiest day, though. It's Thursday night and Saturday. So.
And even at its busiest time, it wasn't that bad.
No, definitely not.
It's a big enough building that group of people is pretty spread out. Well, we like we said, we didn't see hardly any of what was actually there. We walked around the show floor and a little bit in the gaming hall, and that was about it. And that was 8 hours.
Yeah. Which flew by.
Yeah, it went very fast. Next year, we'll definitely be going at least 2 days.
Oh, yeah. At least.
If not, just camping out, living in the car for a week.
I'm going to get a hotel room. You do what you like.
I'm going to sleep in the park and shower in the canal.
More power to you.
Or I might just go to my brother's apartment and be right there.
That's probably more legal. and definitely better on the hygiene side.
Yeah. And I saw a lot of posts where people are talking about making sure to bring deodorant and changes of clothes. I didn't notice that hygiene was an issue at all. And we went on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Maybe everyone just follows those warnings, but I don't know. I think they might have over-embellished that a little bit.
Okay. Well, I think that's a pretty good summary of Gen Con. So, what game are we going to play for next episode, Michael?
I think we are going to play Stone Age.
Very nice. Very nice. A game I've heard a lot about but have never played, so I'm looking forward to it.
One of these days we'll play one of the games that I'm not a big fan of, but for now we're going to burn through the ones that I really like.
And everyone just gets to hear me complain. I get to be the bad guy. But maybe not. Who knows?
You never know.
You don't. All right. And with that, if you guys haven't followed us yet, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Tabletop Life. Or you can visit our website at www.tabletopLifepodcast.com. You can also get the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and we have a video version on Google that has slides from photos we've taken for the show.
On Google or YouTube?
YouTube has the video version with the photo slideshow.
Google
Play has got, I apologize, Google Play has just got the regular MP3 version. And that's all I got.
All right. We're out.
Until next time, this is Matt and Michael with Tabletop Life.